Good morning, Union County. It's a early, cool, nice morning. Little dew on the grounds, and we're here at the stadium, Union County Stadium. We're here streaming live the commemorative ceremony this morning. It starts at 8 a.m. sharp, so you really need to be here. They did a lot of work here. They did lots and lots of stuff going on, and it is beautiful the way they got it set up. They're going to present flags. It's really good. And if you can't miss us because the fire department's got two of the ladder trucks out there with the American flag over it and the lights flashing, which is a great symbol. The fire department does a great job on that right there. Everybody here, from the Union County to tourism and all the other people that's involved here, is doing a great job and putting this on. And it should be. We're thinking and reflecting back to 20 years ago. Today is September 11th, 2021. Well, September 11th, 2001 was a tragic time in American history. So to come out and give the responders, the military, and just American people, we rallied together during that time, and we come together as one. Now we're so like divided now, and this is a good opportunity to let us reflect back and come together as one. We've got some great things going on here. Guest speaker is Trey Carson. Trey is a Union native, and he was inside the Pentagon the morning of the attacks. So I'm looking forward to hearing his speech. We've got some entertainment. T.J. Jeter's going to sing a song. Eric and Kathleen Childers will be singing one. Amy Wildhouse, she's got a powerful voice to be singing right here at the national anthem. I believe she's going to be singing that. And there's going to also be an award honoring the local first responders of the decade. And there is a silent walk going on after the ceremony. It's a 5K silent walk, and you'll come and participate into that. So come on out, wake up this morning, see the beautiful sun coming up. It's coming right into my eyes, but you won't see me. You're going to see some other things going on here. So come into to the stadium. There's going to be plenty of parking. There's plenty of parking elsewhere. So we need to fill this up like a ball game, because this is so very important. And we're so thankful that these guys come together, and we've got to thank the people at the stadium, Department of Corrections guys. They've worked hard out here the whole time. They've been working real hard, and just to get everything prepped. And I tell you, the guys worked, and my hats are off to them. We also can't forget about our sponsors. We've got some great sponsors here. The lieutenant sponsors. We've got, of course, Union City, and as a sponsor, and also we have, Union County we have as a sponsor. Spectrum is sponsoring this event also, and Midway Barbecue, delicious barbecue, and they're right there to celebrate anything about America. Midway is, and don't forget, Midway is closing 4 o'clock today. Don't forget about that. They want to remind you of that. We also got the hero sponsors, Woodman Life, standing strong for generations. So we thank Woodman Life as a hero sponsor. We also, Jonesville, South Carolina is also sponsoring, a hero sponsor, and we're so thankful for them too. We got some little small sponsors too, called the rookie sponsors. Maybe the first time they've ever sponsored an event, but they thought it would be great to sponsor this event, because this event is fantastic. And we want to thank the Union County Tourism also for sponsoring and hosting, and I tell you what, they do a great job. Some people think, so, well, what do they do? Hey, you need to go behind the scenes. You need to go down and talk to them. They do a lot. There's a lot of work involved in all these things that's going on. We're promoting, Union County, and that's what everybody should do. Some of our rookie sponsors is Gwen's Floors. Gwen's Floors, we appreciate your involvement and your sponsoring, and I guess I should have made this a little bit bigger. Union County YMCA is also sponsors. Ace Hardware, also Lockhart Power, Allstate, and we've also got the Union County Chamber of Commerce sponsoring this course, and Community Mortuary is a sponsor. Sherwin-Williams Paints, Carlisle. So we've got a lot of good sponsors here, and if I miss one, I apologize for that right there. because I didn't. My writing is so small. So come on down to Union County Stadium. That's where we're at. Okay. I'm going to show you around a little bit. Of course, you see the American flag right there. And There's going to be some seats. If you see a lot of the first responders, let me focus over here on them. That's where the first responders are going to be sitting on that side. If you're coming into the stadium and you're sitting, if you look on the right-hand side, that's where they're going to be. It was reserved for them. And if you let's see here. Well, you got a golf cart in the way there. So on this side over here, on your left side, that's where the military is going to be sitting. And we need to honor all these folks here. All of them had a part in 9/11, and we're so glad that they were there. And I tell you what, we're so glad that those first responders also, from everything that they do. What would we do without them? I mean, it'd be tragic to even think about that. Well, I'm Jerry McKee, and they're going to go and start at 8 o'clock. I was thinking, someone was telling me that Spartanburg Regional 1 would be coming in and landing, and I'm hoping to do that. I'll give you a good shot of that. And Tamika Wilson, she's a retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army, will be giving a speech also. And of course, you've seen her around quite a bit, around a lot of different things. And so I'm just glad she's very articulate and very good, very smart lady. She has her hands in a lot of different environments in Union County. So be sure to come on down to Union County Stadium. That's Union County Stadium. And you need to come on down and see this great event that's coming on. Okay, I'm just trying to do a few little things here it's a beautiful morning. Sun's coming up. And right now it's probably about 61 degrees or so. It is getting warmer up. The sun's coming in, and the dew is getting away because I'm sitting here and it's like these drips on top of my head. So I'm going to be looking like some of this. I guess wet head. Like I just got out of the shower, but it's not dripping on the equipment. That's good. And what you're watching right now, you're watching the getting preparations and getting ready for the Commemorative 2011, September 11th. You're looking at that right there, and that's what we're here this morning for. I got to turn some things down here. I had two things going on. I hear a buzz noise. And if you hear that buzz noise, that's just them testing out the microphones and getting everything tested there. Also, the sound system here is Jeter Sound and Lighting. Sound with a perfect light. That's Mike Jeter, and you can call him at 803-236-7552. He also sets up the sound for graduations, and I've seen him several times. He's out of Sumter, South Carolina. So also go to his, he probably has his Facebook page, and but if not, you can scroll back to this right here, and you can call Jeter Sound and Lighting, and that's Mike Jeter at telephone 803-236-7552. We're live at Union County Stadium, and when the event ceremony starts, of course, I'll be silent, and you'll hear everything. It sounds good coming through, and everything looks like it's doing good there. Let me show you some of the first responders has already come in and sit down. As you can see, there's quite a few of them there. That's your heroes, guys. That's your heroes here in your hometown. They are here. You'll see them on the side of roads, helping people, wrecks, fire, any emergency. So we need to, take our hats off of these guys here. They got a hard job and a dangerous job. And I've seen a lot of people coming in. I was hoping the regional, I was hoping the helicopter would come in where I could zoom in, and that'd be a beautiful shot this morning as the sun's coming up directly in my eyes. But that's okay. I can see everything, and I'd rather have it in my eyes than behind me. I don't have to use a tent. Not a big tent, but a tent for my laptop. So come and join us at the Union County Stadium for the commemorative ceremony. It begins at 8 o'clock, at 8 o'clock sharp. You know, these guys in the military, they want to, have someone here on time and get started on time. I was watching these guys practice yesterday, and I tell you what, I was really impressed. Not impressed, because I know that that the military has a protocol, and they have orders they're used to. And you see, we got a couple of them over there, getting ready to be seated. On the left, that's where the military was going to be. If you come to the stadium, the right's the first responders, left's going to be for military, reserved for them only.
Hey, darling, how you doing? You can go walk this morning?
Don't forget, get up this morning. Come on down. They got all kind of things going on in Union today. So if you want to get up this morning, come and join us here for this commemorative ceremony. And it begins at 8 o'clock. And you got your guest speaker, Trey Carson. Trey Carson was in the military, and he was he was at the Pentagon when the plane crashed there inside when the attacks happened. So you can imagine what went on there. Of course, we got good T.J. Jeter's going to be singing a song for us also. He's good. If you ever heard him, he's played on the Music Domain. Also, the Eric and Catherine Childers will be singing a song also, and Amy White. Not Amy Whitehouse, no, Amy House. She's a powerful, powerful singing, and she'll be singing the national anthem. They have a silent walk right after this. 5K immediately following after ceremony. So if you want to get up here and get a little walking, and you just take off and be able to walk your 5K. And it's a silent walk too. It's just time to reflect. I'll go over these sponsors again. Our lieutenant sponsors, of course, is Union County, and also Spectrum. And we have Midway Barbecue, which has got some of the best barbecue around. And they'll be closing at 4 o'clock today. They just want everybody to know that too. So today's Saturday, they close at 4. And let's see, we've got Union City also. I think the mayor is going to say a couple of things too. I see him on stage up there along with Frank Hart. And each one will have something to say during this ceremony. Where were you at 20 years ago on the morning of the attack? Can you remember exactly what you were doing? And I've talked to a lot of people, and they are telling me some of their reflections of back then, what happened. You know, we got angry, we got upset, we thought, what is going on? Our country being attacked, that's unheard of back then. We were a strong, strong nation. We're still a strong nation. We just need to come together more now than ever. Okay, I'm going to let you see some of the first responders while I change some camera angles. Woodman Life is also a sponsor, Jonesville City. Community Mortuary. We got Union County Family YMCA, Lockhart Power, Union Chamber of Commerce, Ace Hardware, Allstate, and there's a couple more here that I just can't see. That Sherwin-Williams, and we're thankful for all you do. And these events wouldn't go on without our neighbor sponsors. So buy locally. Go visit these people. Go let them know. Support them. Support your counties. Support your chamber. Support the they're here and they do things. You know, we like to criticize because we're not in that field. We're not in these things. We like to do things like that. So let's do this. Let's get together and support these guys. We'll be silent just a moment, and we'll be right back in just 1 second.
Hey, Slossie, how you doing? Doing fabulous. Good to see you. How's that? I'm doing good. How's that for you?
Basic training. I said, yeah, you were all in shape then.
Okay, and we'll give you a shot of the stadium there. You can see Tamika Wilson's at the podium right there. You can also see several others sitting up there getting ready to go. Frank Hart and Mayor Thompson there, Mayor of the Union City. If you got time, you've got about really about 5 minutes here. We're gonna get started, and then we'll be quiet, and you'll be able to hear the ceremony. You'll be able to hear the singing. If you can't make it here, at least show your appreciation by liking, commenting. I'd rather for you to comment.
The program will begin in 5 minutes.
Yeah, the program will be in 5 minutes, and that's coming from Tamika Wilson, Lieutenant Colonel retired Tamika Wilson, and being a high-ranking military officer, it's going to start at 8 o'clock, folks. So if you can't get down here, which you probably can't just getting out of bed, watch this, and I want you to comment on it. Positive comments. I want you to show your support by that. If you can't be here, show that support. Let's blow this thing up a little bit. You know, let's blow it up and showing that that we're supportive here. Over here is your first responders, and the way the sun's coming in straight in on my camera down there, it's going to, and you know, let me show you. I'm trying to show you where the military is going to be at. Some of them's going to be sitting over there, but as you can see, sun coming in, come directly in, so that'll kind of move on up a little bit. So we won't. We'll go back to first responders are sitting on the right-hand side. They will be bringing flags. Altogether, there's 13 flags they'll be bringing up, including the American flag, of course, and the South Carolina flag. You'll have each branch of the military coming up. You also will have the first responders, their flags, they will be bringing up and placing also. So this is going to be a great event, and I hope you stay tuned for this event. And if you can't be here, well, you're really missing it. You're missing it. And so we're going to get prepared here in just a moment to where you'll be able to hear and see. Live streaming brought to you by me, J&E Freelance Media Services, Jerry McKee. And the sound is brought to you by Jeter Sound and Lighting. That's Mike Jeter. He lives in Sumter, South Carolina. You can call him at 803-236-7552. I see the media's here also, Union Times. And also WBCU. We're streaming live on their page also, and they're streaming live on their radio station. So stay tuned to WBCU, either the live Facebook page, or you can go and listen to them on the radio. We're streaming live to Down Home with Jerry McKee, my personal page, Casey Show, the YouTube. So we got about 5 different channels we're broadcasting to. So we wanted to get this word out so you can find us anywhere on the channel. Right now, I'm going to be closing out, and you're going to be listening to the
Ladies and gentlemen, if
ceremony.
you're a veteran and you'd like to sit on the field, you're welcome to sit on the field. To my right, your left. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Union County Supervisor Frank Hart for a welcome and recognition of sponsors, and join us in an invocation by City of Union Mayor Harold Thompson.
Thank you. On behalf of Union County, welcome to our 9/11 20th anniversary ceremony. This event would not be possible without the support of our sponsors and our volunteer committee, which planned today's events. Sponsors include the City of Union, Midway Barbecue, Spectrum, the Town of Jonesville, Woodman Life, Community Mortuary, Lockhart Power, Allstate Insurance, Union County Historical Society, Town of Carlisle, Union County Family YMCA, Sherwin-Williams, Gwen's Florist, Ace Hardware, WT's, State Representative Doug Gillum, and the Union County Chamber of Commerce. Let's give all of our sponsors and volunteers a round of applause. It's hard to believe that 20 years have passed since terrorists shamefully attacked our country with the intent of destroying the very freedoms we enjoy. We come together today to honor those who lost their lives during the attack and thank all of our military, law enforcement, and first responder personnel who put themselves in harm's way every day to protect us. We stand together to say to the world that we're proud to be Americans and thankful that we live in the greatest nation in the world. God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, 20 years ago, 20 years have passed since the devastating September the 11th attacks that shook the United States and communities around the world. On this anniversary, we continue to honor the memories of those who died during this tragic event, their loved ones, the brave first responders who risked their lives, and all of those who gave of their time and efforts to bring a healing to a fractured nation. Let us pray. God of wisdom, God of compassion, God of all races, nations, the world and the things therein, and creator of all mankind. Dear God, we seek your grace to strengthen us as we commemorate the lives of loved ones that was lost during that day of anguish. We pray, oh God, as we live with the memory, that we live with constant love and the promise both to combat evil and to cherish goodness. Help us to continue to grow with this memory, that we live with the constant love and the promise. Help us to continue to grow through this tragedy. Help us to continue to live in your will and find peace and harmony and serenity. And now, blessed be the God, the Father of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, the Father of mercy and the God of all consolation. Amen.
Good morning. I am Lieutenant Colonel Tamika M. Wilson, retired U.S. Army, and it is my honor to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for this important event. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated for the procession of flags honoring our veterans active military, and first responders. Caleb Cudd carries the United States flag in honor of all Americans that were impacted by the terror attacks on 9/11 and in honor of his father, the late Sergeant Tommy Wayne Cudd, Union County Sheriff's Office. Sergeant Major Joe Tracy, U.S. Army, carries the South Carolina flag, representing how every state was touched by the events of 9/11. Staff Sergeant Bobby Joe Gibbs, U.S. Army, carries the POW MIA flag for all prisoners of war and missing in action and the ongoing mission to recover those personnel and return them home. Specialist 4 McKee Gist carries the U.S. Army flag. Master Sergeant Wayne Porter carries the U.S. Marine Corps flag. Petty Officer Phil Harris carries the U.S. Navy flag. Staff Sergeant Richard Lewis carries the U.S. Air Force flag. Cadet Jesse Williford, JROTC, carries the U.S. Coast Guard flag. Cadet Leo Williams, JROTC, carries the U.S. Space Force. To the right of the field, flags representing the distinguished volunteers and personnel that serve as our first responders. Charlie Gill carries the Emergency Medical Services flag. Lee Brannon carries the firefighters flag. Nathan Cudd carries the law enforcement flag in honor of his father, the late Sergeant Tommy Wayne Cudd, Union County Sheriff's Office. And Robert Garner carries the telecommunicators flag. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the posting of the colors and the national anthem sung by Union's own Amy House.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the or the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Carl E. Carson III, Trey, Budget Officer, Office of the Chief Financial Officer, Library of Congress. A native of Union, South Carolina, Mr. Carson graduated from Union High School in 1974, Furman University in 1978, and was commissioned as a naval officer in March 1979. He earned his Navy wings in 1980 and holds 2 master's degrees, the first in financial management from the Naval Postgraduate School, Monterey, California in 1991, and the second from Virginia Tech in 2018 in natural resources, environment, and sustainability. After 26 years, he retired from the Navy at the rank of captain in February 2005. Upon completing Navy flight training in Pensacola and San Diego in November 1980, Mr. Carson's initial fleet assignment was with an anti-submarine aviation squadron on board the aircraft carrier USS Independence, flying the S-3A aircraft. During this period, he made 3 overseas deployments: the Persian Gulf in '81, the Mediterranean '82, '83, and the Mediterranean North Sea '84. As a flight instructor, he amassed over 2,000 flight hours and 250 carrier landings. He was promoted to commander and remained in Washington, D.C. in multiple positions, serving as the Navy Reserve Regional Program Director at the Naval Air Facility at Andrews Air Force Base and the Director of Navy Reserve Programming, allocating resources for all Navy Reserve programs in Navy's Program Objective Memorandum 5-year plan, where he was promoted to the rank of Navy Captain. He ended his Navy career in 2005 as the Director of Programming and Budget for the Chief of the Navy Reserve, overseeing funding for all Navy Reserve operations, manpower, equipment, and facilities. Mr. Carson left the Pentagon in January of 2016, accepting the Budget Officer position at the Library of Congress. Among his military awards are the Legion of Merit, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Navy Meritorious Service Medal 4, the Navy Achievement Medal, and the Navy Expeditionary Medal 2. Residing in Alexandria, Virginia, Mr. Carson is married to the former Anita Vinson of Union, South Carolina. They have 1 son, Carl E. Vinson IV, in Chicago, Illinois. Please join us in welcoming Captain Carl E. Carson III, retired U.S. Navy.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Wilson, Mayor Thompson, Mr. Hart, and Jamie Trammell, and everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today to remember 9/11. It's so important that we never forget. Just as 20 years ago, the threats are still out there, and there's quite a few of them. So it's truly an honor and privilege to have this opportunity to come home to my home here in Union to talk about 9/11. Growing up here was as wholesome as it gets at 401 Springdale Drive, just on the other side of those trees in Duncan Acres. My parents, Kitty and Jean, provided my siblings and I with such a wonderful upbringing, I would like to dedicate and thank them and dedicate this talk to them in their service to Union. First, let me say that I am not a hero. I was there in the Pentagon on 9/11 and I survived. I was one of the lucky ones. But my main objective today is to remember all of the real heroes and those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and for those service members who have stood the watch over the last 20 years all around the world. My second objective today is to acknowledge their success. The fact is, there have been no major terrorist attacks on U.S. soil since 9/11. That's 20 years of success. So today I'll cover my humble recollections of 9/11, two of my 9/11 heroes, and finally some comments on 9/11 and its long-lasting impacts. My Navy career took a turn in 1987 when the Soviets mothballed their submarine fleet, essentially eliminating my aircraft's anti-submarine mission and led to its decommissioning. So I had to find another career path in the Navy, and I was fortunate enough to attend the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California. There I obtained a master's in finance that took me into the Pentagon to manage military budgets for the next 21 years. During that time, of course, I had my most brutal work day ever. And you may know where you were on this day, September 11th, 2001. It was a beautiful, crystal clear September morning, a lot like this morning. And I remember thinking, wow, what a great golf day this would be. But I got to work about 7:30 that morning, and first on my schedule at 8:30, I had a budget meeting with some of my Navy colleagues. At 8:46 a.m., American Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center, killing all 92 on board and hundreds more in the tower. We were informed in the meeting, but the crash had not yet been tabbed as terrorism. Then at 9:03 a.m., United Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower, killing everyone on board and hundreds more inside. Someone stuck their head in the door again to let us know the second plane had hit and that it could be terrorism. So at that point, we quickly decided to wrap up the meeting. At 9:37, as I was walking back to my office, American Flight 77 crashed into the western side of the Pentagon, killing all 59 on board and 125 military and civilian in the Pentagon. At impact, I felt a large thud, and the building shook a little. I staggered a bit, but not really enough to fall. It was sort of like a small earthquake tremor. On the Pentagon E-ring circle, I was about 20% away from the hit, and I was unknowingly walking towards the danger. A moment later, the corridor began to fill with smoke, and then running towards me, a sea of desperate, terrified people, some yelling a bomb. Alarms began sounding, emergency lights flashing, and a major evacuation was mandated. What followed next was a mass exodus of 20,000 people into the parking lot. Some calm, some were panicked. Once in the parking lot, it was a surreal environment, kind of like you would see in a catastrophe movie. There was lots of smoke and noise. I witnessed 2 heart attacks. Medical people were scrambling. People were wandering around disoriented and confused. Some were covered with dust and dirt. The injured were being taken to a triage, quickly being set up in the center courtyard. I realized outside that it had to be a plane. I could smell the jet fuel, and I knew that smell. The rumors were that there was a second plane inbound, so people began to disperse away from the Pentagon. The cell phones didn't work, so if you're ever in an emergency like that, don't count on your cell phone. Highways were packed and I couldn't access my car. So I began walking I walked about 5 miles that day to Alexandria. Every payphone I found had at least 100 people deep waiting in line, but I eventually found one, and I got my wife, Anita. She was panicked. It had been about 2 hours, but we set a rendezvous point that was clear of all the traffic, and she picked me up. I was one of the lucky ones. It was Russian roulette. My former office was a direct hit, and I had just moved out of that office in July of 2001. So fate had smiled on me. Or if I had left that meeting a few minutes earlier, I may have been walking through the danger zone at precisely the wrong time. For some, their lives were spared that day because they were sick or on leave or had gone to a meeting elsewhere or had gone to the bathroom or the cafeteria. For others, they had entered the danger zone for meetings or walking through the hall and just were simply at the wrong place at the wrong time. There were so many 9/11 heroes, the first responders, firefighters, law enforcement, medical people, the passengers and crews on the planes, the fallen and injured, the families, and thousands of courageous citizens with real stories of heroism. I'd like to share with you two of my heroes in 9/11. The first, my longtime Navy friend, Paul Gonzalez, a true 9/11 hero. When I first moved to D.C., I replaced Paul in his position at the Navy Comptroller Office, and he became the Deputy Comptroller of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Paul's office took a direct hit that day. There was a good side of his office and a bad side. The people on the bad side died instantly, but on the good side, there were some still alive. Paul was on the good side. Everyone was instantly thrown to the floor from the impact, and the room quickly filled with smoke, fire, and a toxic mix of jet fuel, concrete dust, melting steel, and asbestos. The heat was so intense it was hard to breathe, the hot particle-filled air. Paul's lungs were burning. Visibility was nothing, and his sense of direction was totally gone. It was dark. Most people who were alive took cover, finding hiding places under desks or rubble, but not Paul. Paul struggled to get his bearings. He wondered if he would ever see his wife and family again. The exits were blocked and weren't visible, but Paul was able to find what he thought were the doors and somehow created and cleared rubble to create a hole to the corridor. Paul got clear. He had found his way out, but Paul did not stay out. His lungs were shot and he was cut and bruised, but he went back in and found 7 people still alive who had basically resigned themselves to die. Paul got them all out. He had inhaled some toxic stuff in the room that day, and he collapsed in the center courtyard where the medical triage performed an emergency tracheotomy on him. Paul spent the next several weeks on an artificial lung and still suffers today from lung damage and a nervous system disorder. My next hero, General Mark Sassville. He was an unsung hero that day. He went on a suicide mission with the unthinkable dilemma of bringing down a civilian airliner. From 2010 to 2012, I had the privilege of serving with Mark in the Pentagon. However, on September 11, 2001, Mark was not in the Pentagon. He was an F-16 pilot and the operations group commander of the D.C. Air National Guard at Andrews Air Force Base. On 9/11, Mark and Lieutenant Heather Lucky Penny were the first 2 pilots to launch over D.C. during the attacks in search of the hijacked American Flight 93. Just after the World Trade Center was hit, Mark received a call that the Secret Service wanted F-16 fighters over D.C. Immediately, Mark requested to load War Reserve missiles and launch. However, things were moving fast and there was no time to arm those F-16s or even brief the mission. The urgency was to get the planes in the air ASAP. Of the 4 pilots available, Mark stepped forward and assigned himself and Lieutenant Penny on his wing. Without a brief, they scrambled to the pre-flight area and would be flying the mission virtually unarmed, packing only training bullets in their undaunted courage. Normally, an F-16 pre-flight takes about a half hour methodically going through the checklist. However, on that day, there was no brief, no pre-flight, no checklist. They ran to their planes, started the engines, and began to taxi, with the ground crew chasing them, pulling the pins and trying to do the final plane checks. As they took off, they could see the black smoke billowing from the Pentagon. They headed northwest to intercept Flight 93, receiving their brief in the air over the radio. The Capitol or the White House was believed to be Flight 93's target. Thus, Mark and Lieutenant Penny were given the unimaginable mission to take down or disrupt an American airliner any way possible. Their orders were to protect and defend. Knowing they were unarmed, that could mean only one thing: a kamikaze mission, creating a collision with Flight 93 and sacrificing themselves in the horrifying reality of the American civilians on board the airliner. Over the radio, Mark and Lieutenant Penny discussed their possible plans of attack. Plan 1, Mark would hit the cockpit and Penny would aim for the tail. Alternatively, Mark thought he may be able to shear off one of Flight 93's wings using his own, and then try to eject. Ejecting at impact was a possibility, but surviving that was doubtful. And knowing that he had only one shot, he didn't want to miss. Mark and Lieutenant Penny had come to terms with executing the last full measure of devotion. For the next 90 minutes, Mark and Penny searched, but they aborted that mission once they got word of that the heroic passengers of Flight 93 had defeated the terrorists themselves, crashing that plane into a Pennsylvania field. Mark's mission then shifted from intercept to sanitizing the D.C. airspace, enforcing the national ban on civilian aircraft. Fortunately, they both landed safely, never having to execute that horrendous mission, and today Mark is an Air Force general serving on the National Guard Bureau. September 11th changed America and began the War on Terror. The 9/11 attacks represent an inflection point in America. Excuse me. For us, there was life before the attacks and then life after them. Nearly 3,000 Americans lost their lives from 4 plane crashes into the World Trade Center towers, the Pentagon, and a Pennsylvania field. In terms of scale, the 9/11 attacks were unprecedented. It was the largest single deadliest attack on by any foreign entity on U.S. soil, and the deadliest ever for firefighters and law enforcement. In terms of time, the shock and horror of 9/11 resonates with us today. A large attack on American soil, once unthinkable, remains in our psyche, and for good reason. We know terrorism continues to be a threat. Perhaps some black swan event outside of our paradigm, maybe biological or nuclear weapons, the grid, or the financial system. The good news is, now finding and defeating terrorism is integrated into our planning. We're not caught flat-footed. We're looking for it. It's part of our continuous threat assessments. Policies, protocols, and new technologies have been implemented and are updated continuously to anticipate, detect, prevent terrorism, no matter how it morphs and changes. The 9/11 Commission concluded that we had a failure of intelligence that operated on a need-to-know basis, and a culture of sharing information should be created. I believe we have built an intelligence community today that routinely does that. Immediately after 9/11, we were consumed by fear, grief, and outrage, and we felt a need for action. Congress and the White House responded with an unprecedented expansion of the combined forces of military, law enforcement, and intelligence communities focused on rooting out terrorism at home and abroad. It was the combination of this call to action and the need for greater intelligence collaboration that led to new policies, which included restrictions on immigration, the creation of the Department of Homeland Security, increased surveillance, and the expansion of aviation security protocols. With these policies, America shifted, and the global war on terror was born. The plan called for a wide-ranging, far-reaching, sustained war on terror rather than a single airstrike on a training facility or a weapons bunker. The plan had two elements. First, to defend and harden the homeland, and second, to relentlessly seek out terror abroad wherever it exists. Thus, the war on terror did not end with Al-Qaeda, but it extended to find and defeat all terrorist groups across the globe. The war on terror has continued at home and abroad now for 20 years, confronting emerging terrorism anywhere. As part of the global effort, American troops invaded Afghanistan less than a month after 9/11, and the longest sustained military campaign in U.S. history began. The fight in Afghanistan was to defeat Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden. Thousands of American military heroes made the ultimate sacrifice and returned home, and many more returned with physical and psychological wounds, all an indirect result of the ever-present shadow of 9/11. Less prominent in our news cycle, terrorist groups in other parts of the globe have been surveilled, tracked, and checked in different fashions. A better surveillance apparatus now exists that employs new technologies and a better culture for sharing information, enabling us to adapt as forms of terrorism change and shift. New technology advancements, including significant over-the-horizon capabilities. Human intelligence on the ground is still an invaluable component. However, over-the-horizon advances are having ever-increasing impacts on this effort. Here at home, our lives changed as well. Air travel transformed. America's intelligence community was revamped and airport security was redesigned. The TSA was created and introduced extensive new security protocols. There were layers of screening areas, removing laptops and shoes, restricting liquids, full body scanners replaced conventional. Behavior detection was implemented, and the FBI created terrorist watch lists of hundreds of thousands of people. With advances in technology, security and surveillance capabilities increased all across American society, in cities, police departments, state governments, government buildings, private businesses, cybersecurity, and in our daily routines. A debate emerged between civil liberties versus the ability to snuff out the bad guys. The concern of more 9/11 type attacks drove the passage of the Patriot Act just 6 weeks after 9/11. The intention was to close identified intelligence gaps and lay the foundation with policies and technologies to effectively pursue terrorism. Domestic intelligence agencies underwent sweeping changes in conducting surveillance. Long-standing rules meant to protect us from unreasonable search and seizure were loosened in the interest of national security. The FBI and NSA had new abilities to collect and share data. Intelligence agencies had greater leeway to search library records, computers, homes, and wiretap. The FISA Amendments Act gave the NSA the ability to monitor phone calls, text messages, and emails. Although controversial, the ability to conduct surveillance increased many-fold here at home, as well as more robust coordination among our intelligence agencies. So in closing, have all the variants of the global war on terror been worth it? I believe all in all, with the price paid by the military, law enforcement, and intelligence agencies and the American people, the answer is a resounding yes. America has become safer, maybe altered, but safer. If you don't remember anything I say today, please remember this. As I said in the beginning, there have been no major terrorist attacks on American soil since 9/11. This is my metric. These are the only words I have to say to comfort those families who lost loved ones in 9/11 and during the global war on terror and in the Middle East. I believe our policies and security measures after 9/11 worked. I feel they uncovered, cut off, discouraged, disrupted, and foiled ambitious terrorist plans before they got started. So now is not the time to let our guard down. We must remain ever more committed and vigilant to continue to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice and to protect our great way of life. So we must remind ourselves, and more importantly, our children, to never forget. To quote Franklin Roosevelt, in the truest sense, freedom cannot be bestowed, it must be achieved. Today, I want to remember the men and women who made great sacrifices on 9/11 and during the war on terror to achieve freedom. Freedom is never free. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Carson. On behalf of Union County, we would like to present you with the 9/11 Union County Commemorative Challenge coin. And we will also present you with a shirt a little bit later on for your inspiring words and sharing your experience from 9/11.
Thank you.
Please welcome T.J. Jeter as he sings America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, till all success refined, till all success be nobleness
Today, we acknowledge the commitment and dedication of the first responders and our military veterans and their families. They are heroes among us that quietly go about the business of protecting and serving the community and have and will make the ultimate sacrifice. As you go about your day today and in the future, know that individuals that you see seated on the field today and in the stands represent a distinguished group called to serve, and thank them for their service. Please welcome Neil McKee, Director of Union County Detention Center. He will present the First Responder of the Decade award, followed by a special musical selection by Eric and Catherine Childers.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Good morning on this beautiful commemorative Saturday. On behalf of the Union County 9/11 Committee, I would like to recognize one of our own today, a man who grew up just a few miles from here. At age 14, he began riding his bike to the city fire department just to get a glimpse of the engines leaving the station. He knew that they were on the way to help someone. He knew that's what he wanted to do someday. Some years later, he finally got the chance to join the city volunteers. Over the next 30 years, he spent thousands of hours fighting fires and assisting in rescues all over Union County, helping any department that needed manpower. He became such a great friend to so many during these years. His famous smile lifted the spirits of everyone. In February 2018, just down the road from here, he stopped to help a stranded motorist. Little did he know, he was about to be in the fight for his life. Just after he exited the vehicle, he was struck by another motor vehicle and ran down. Now his friends were there to rescue him. He would go on to spend many months in the hospital while all of Union prayed. He fought for his life. He fought to see his families and friends again. He fought to come back home to take care of his mother once more. After years of healing, his smile was back. Ladies and gentlemen, your first responder of the decade, Dennis O. Howell. I will meet y'all down on the ground out here tonight.
There in my shadow, to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. and everything I would like to be. Well, I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know it. Well, I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. Well, I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. Did I ever tell you you're my hero? You're everything, everything I wish I could be. Well, I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. Yes, you are the wind beneath my wings.
Ladies and gentlemen, throughout today's ceremony, you have heard a distinct ping or bell ring. That bell signifies the major events that transpired during 9/11 that culminated in the murder of 2,977 Americans and citizens from multiple countries. The first ping represents that at 8:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, American Airlines Flight 11, traveling from Boston to Los Angeles, strikes the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. After 102 minutes of terror, the time between the first attack and collapse of both World Trade Center towers, at least 6,000 people were injured, and life as we knew it was forever changed. We ask that you honor their memory through your continued resilience to live free and celebrate each other whenever possible. Please stand for the playing of the taps, played by Jacob Green.
Roll! Attention! Present all!
Please remain standing for the retiring of the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the formal portion of the ceremony. Thank you to the sponsors listed in your program for their support, the 9/11 Committee for their dedication and professionalism. If you plan to participate in the silent 5K run, walk, or stair climb, you may proceed to the starting points now. Challenge coins commemorating today's ceremony are available for free to all military veterans and first responders in attendance at today's ceremony. They are also included in the silent run, walk, stair climb participate registration bags. Thank you sincerely for joining us in this commemoration.